first time, is just me responding to various questions and comments I get on various different videos. I never censor my comments. Always encourage people to jump in on the conversation because it's usually pretty fantastical, whether we agree, disagree, or agree to disagree. Always good to say your piece. Today's date, 16th of January, 2016. Let's just jump into this. First of all, I appreciate you trying to go about this balanced and fair way. However, if anyone thinks there's not enough resources to maintain Canada's welfare state, they're simply wrong. Canada's corporations get tax cuts with the assumption that they will reinvest and be in job creators people claim them to be. But instead, what has happened is that in between 2001 and 2011, a total cash reversal, the total cash reserves of Canada's largest non-financial private corporations grew from 187 billion to 575 billion. This is what is referred to as dead money. Funds are just sitting there doing nothing, and Canada corporations have over 500 billion of it. It is so bad that the Bank of Canada Governor Mark Carney and former Finance Minister Flaherty both came out at the time urging the corporations to invest more than they are. Yes, there are those welfare bums, but they are expected. They are the exception, not the rule. If anybody wants to attack welfare recipients, just don't forget that the corporation's recipients too. Oh, I agree with this too, and they are worse than the individual citizens replacing recipients because the corporation's welfare recipients get way more than the individual citizen recipients. Okay, well that's definitely fair. But what I'm saying is, okay, people who can able-bodied to work should work. I'm all for a workfare program, and I'm also against too big to fail. And I'm also, again, these billions of dollars. A lot of corporations, that's the biggest complaint, that these corporations, when they got all these tax breaks, they just hung on to the money. That was one of the biggest problems, yes, and it still is. But what I'm saying is get rid of too big to fail. So you get rid of too big to fail, these big corporations go away, or you mandate that those corporations either have to pay a profit sharing or spend that money by a certain amount of time, or the government just seizes that money. Which I think the government should just seize the money, because these people wouldn't be Fortune 500 companies without the welfare of the government anyway. So that's why I get rid of too big to fail. All these problems, they go away, and you just really emphasize on having an economy with really strong entrepreneurship and small business. Small businesses are the wave of the future, because the big corporations, like, again, most of them, these Fortune 500 companies, they're just welfare giants. That's all they are. So 500 billion, that would pay for Canada's budget every year. You know what I mean? That type of thing. So, yes, we couldn't have a welfare state, but the idea of having people just sit on the welfare, no, that's, of course not. Okay, anyway, the brainwashing is intense in American colleges. I live in America, and I can't believe how some of the people think. Division grows. The division grows, yeah. This government is screwed. Trudeau is here in Newfoundland and right now, and easier on Easter vacation with his family, and staying at the Fogo Island Inn. That's $2,000 per night. Yeah, yeah. That's how these liberals. But again, that's how this idiot grew up. So he thinks he's owed this stuff, right? Again, they're all snakes and slime buckets. But look at the scandal on right now with this Muslim guy that he stayed at his private island or whatever. This is one of those. And you could see that, Justin Trudeau's been really catering to the Muslims or whatever. So he's probably being funded. Like, that's the thing about these people. They have no morals. They'll just go whoever gives them funding, right? So they'll cater to that. So anyway, I'm not against Muslims, as individuals, but as a religion, they got problems with that religion. So you really don't want that pay for access, cash for access, going from Muslim organizations that could, help radicalize Canada, that type of thing. But anyway, that's Trudeau, right? Hey, King Reg, have you heard that some of the Templars escaped to Scotland, built that strange church in Roswell with a lot of Freemasonry icons built into place? Freemasonry was started in Scotland, I believe. I think so. Yeah, the High Order or whatever. Or I think I think it was the first lodge was unveiled in Scotland. Something like that. Yeah, I don't think it was I don't think it was in created there. I think it was unveiled there. I think is what I had heard. I could be wrong. I'm sure if I'm wrong, people will correct me. But anyway, I believe law enforcement will act, but it will come in the 11th hour. In the minute they start rounding people up into the FEMA camps, this whole house of cards will come down. When it does, there will be an enabling function in the people, function in the people who are afraid and will act all of a sudden and be empowered to do so. It will be like spreading wildfire within the administration, and there will be no place to hide. In the end, there is reasons to be optimistic, but the fact is that the whole thing has gotten this far within the administration. Has gotten this far is troubling. Not to mention the fact that we are so deep into the hole that is getting out. Getting out will wreak havoc. That's the price we're going to have to pay for our complacency is seeing and hearing and speaking no evil. But I think we're seeing the early throes of it. You're seeing it in the all these leaks and stuff coming out of the government. I think that's a lot of whistleblowers that are they're fighting back. The governments are fighting from within. So there's no way the governments will be. I think there would be. Yes, there's going to be a lot of jackboot thugs that will just follow orders. I mean, that's to be expected. But I think there will be breakaway factions of the military and law enforcement that will fight back. And the thing is the reason why the DHS is so terrified of veterans, why they took Al Qaeda off the terrorist watch list. Well, number one, because the U.S. government is arming them in Syria. And they're now called Al-Nusra and ISIS, but the thing is the big one is that they're worried about the vets more because these guys not only have combat experience, it's not even that. It's the idea that they know if you're an Abrams tank driver, trust me, you know what part of the tank you need to protect or else you're going to die because you know all the weak points of that tank. You know exactly how to beat the thing with a pair of paper clips and shoestrings. You can MacGyver something and you say, yeah, that tank is impervious until you hit it right here. Go for the soft underbelly, that type of thing. You know what the Achilles heel is. Sorry, Hercules heel, but the Achilles heel. You'll know that's the thing. The DHS, and with all their spying, oh my God, they've got cameras everywhere and drones everywhere. Rock trumps camera. Molotov cocktail trumps camera. They'll lose that surveillance like that. The drones, well, okay, fine, the first few weeks, sure. But what happens when all the fuel vats are lit on fire? You know what I mean? Molotov, big fuel vat, easy to set those, they'll be set ablaze, if the populace rises up against the government, it's best just for the soldiers just to stand down and hand over the government. Round these people up and hand them over to the people. Because at the end of the day, they're going to lose their family. You can't fight on your own homeland. It's not an easy task. Even if it's a weapons-free, if they're a dissident, shoot them on the spot, it still wouldn't work out for the U.S. military. There's only 1 million of them. Maybe 4 if you add up everybody, all the personnel. It's not enough to take on 30-some-odd million people. They'll be so isolated onto the bases. The biggest thing that'll happen to the military is they're going to starve. So within 30 days, sure, they got tanks. You can't get onto the base, but they're starving. They ran out of food. You got 5,000 guys there. Sure, that base doesn't go anywhere, but they're starving. So what happens every time they got to send groups out? They're going to lose a guy, 2 guys, 3 guys, and those guys are never going to be replenished. So it goes on for a year, 2 years, whatever. It doesn't matter. The time is not on their side. Munitions go down as the factories get destroyed. Every shot they fire means 1 less. The gun owners only have to fire 1 successful shot. 4 million gun owners have to fire 1 successful shot. You know what I mean? Think about it that way. And I do believe that the populace would uprise. There'll be a lot of factions within, and they will crack down on a lot. There's no doubt about that. But I think, and the fact that the world elites have to put 100% trust in their military, that there won't be any defectors. And how many people are on the inside? That's the thing. It's not the people that'll be fighting on the outside. It's the people on the inside. You're seeing it already. You're seeing all these whistleblowers. Protocol is lost. It's lost. It's people aren't. They're blowing the whistle. So I think that's what the U.S. military is ready for. Is not so much the people, the populace uprising. That's part of it, but they know that from within they're going to be torn apart. There's oath keepers in there. There's whatever. People are just leaking out vital information. Weapons transfer at this date and time. bang, they get hit. Wolverine tactics, rule. General such and such is going to be here by this date and time. Guy who's the security guy officer right beside him pulls out his gun, bang, there. No more Rothschild, no more Rockefeller, bang, there you go. No more Clinton, no more Bushes, no more Obamas, no more Bush. That's what's going to happen. These people are just going to turn around and bang. I mean, you might even see it with Trump. You know what I mean? Again, because there's going to be spies. There's guys that are going to be willing to die for their country. I'm just saying, we live in radical times. We'll have to wait. But anyway, this is where you could talk about populist uprisings could happen. And when you say they always succeed, but they almost always never have the backing of George Soros and big money and types that are used in the way these regimes change to bad governments. I don't think populist uprisings are the way as they are. Chaos and the New World Order thrives on the chaos order from chaos type thing. They're actually trying to engineer these populist uprisings in the States and elsewhere. Well, that's true. Break down nationalism or whatever. I think better route is the first try the regain control of the existing government. I don't know if you can. The government, I don't know. I think it has to be done away with. It's too corrupt to be overhauled. Some of it can be overhauled for sure. If that fails, then it's time to create a new government. I think that's and I think that's what you're seeing with Trump is the beginning throes of a new government. Have your own police and stop paying the corrupt ones. If people all start creating their own governments, the local police, whether that be citizen or patrol or whatever, that the elites don't control, that would break up the whole control grid. The people having power to create whatever government they want, and founders like in the U.S. realized that, but in order to do that, they will have to willing to deal with the violence to overcome the existing governments who won't give up their control or taxation easily, and that would be far more difficult. When they bring in the UN enforcers, for many countries, those enforcers enforce the dissenters, or forces around the dissenters. Yeah. You got Henry Kissinger saying that people are going to be begging for the UN to give. The unwashed masses will. But remember, there's too many people that are woke up for this plan to really take place. Because you don't need 1 million people to take out these kind of governments and stuff like that. That's the whole kicker. People think, okay, well, we got to go toe-to-toe with the U.S. military. No, you don't. You got to go toe-to-toe with the guy who gives the orders. And you got to go with the mission planners. You got to go, and before you even worry about the military, who's ordering the military to do bad things? That's the key. That's the kicker right there. And that's what the world elites are afraid of, because they know if the rumblings and fightings start in the street, martial laws everywhere, okay, people will take the street and fight the soldiers. That's the point. You're getting this group of idiots to fight that group of idiots. That's it. Why would you fight the law enforcement and military when you know George Soros is your real enemy? Or Henry Kissinger, Zbigniew Brzezinski, or the Clintons, Bushes, Obamas, Blairs. The policymakers, the Zionist governments, that type of thing. That's what they're really afraid of, because they know there's people from within. That's why I say the hellhounds that will overthrow the government most likely will be active duty law enforcement and military. And I think the law enforcement guys are going to be worse than ever, because they know who brings in the laws. It'll be like, okay, well, this was signed by this guy on this date and time. Okay, he's going to have an accident. You know what I mean? And watch for it. We're never going to see this war. It's going to be a spy vs. spy kind of war. I think that's already going on right now to a good degree, that you're actually seeing some of it in the forms of whistleblowing and the email leaks and stuff like that. But I think at the end of the day, what we're really going to see is that the overthrow of the government is going to be a silent coup. And it already kind of, I think the first wave of it was with the Trump election. And why is my computer coming? I hit the wrong button. Stupid computer. My computer is being a dissident. Hang on. Wait for it. But anyway, I guess I'll leave it at that. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Again, I never call for the violence or anything like that, but I know it's coming. And I think it's going. The Trump inauguration is that is kind of like, I don't even know what to expect for that. Like, I don't expect anything good. What will blow me away if nothing happens? You know what I mean? Like if everybody's well behaved or whatever, I'll be blown away. A lot of people have a fear about this inauguration, that they might try to kill. I don't think they would try it at the inauguration. That's just, unless they actually want the civil war. It's like, okay, well, we can blame the economic collapse on a civil war. So we assassinate Trump. We know the right-wingers or whatever will come out. But then again, they're assuming that the people will just react, be reactionary, without knowing who's doing it. That's the thing that these world elites, I don't think, really get. And maybe so. And so that said, that also what might be leading to, their own demise. Again, it's Emperor Nero effect. The Byzantine Empire is burning and they're playing the violin, that type of thing. So that is a possibility that they can't see their own demise, that they think we are all that stupid and that we'll never rise up against them. And, that's the way these people think. That's why they're psychopaths, right? But there could be, the problem that they're probably not foreseeing is, again, the people who know who's doing what. When there's no more rule of law, bad things are going to happen. So if they think, okay, yeah, well, we'll get the Civil War, we'll be able to collapse all the economy, blame it on the assassination, blame it on a civil war. If we can't get a war going with Russia or China, well, we'll just have one from within ourselves. Now, that could be, it does look like that's the best way to break up the states from nationals so you can have a one world government as well. Remember, the Rothschilds do want that 2018 one world currency. So that can't happen unless you destroy everybody's currency on the world. You destroy the U.S. currency, you can pretty much, because everybody's tied to the U.S. dollar, you can destroy everybody. So you can see the motives are there. But that said, that happens, the people who know the Rothschild, Rockefeller, and God knows who's above them, those hellhounds, those sniffer dogs are going to rip everything apart. And they're not going to go after the military. They're not going to go fight in the streets. It's not going to be an open battlefield. It's going to be, again, the guy who's running, security for, such and such elite. Bang! There we go. That type of thing. Yeah, everything's secure? Yep. Bang! Next thing you know, okay, so they shoot that guy, but it doesn't matter. He's done his job, right? Probably yell some slogan, freedom! Whatever. If he's smart, shoot, drop the gun. Don't shoot, I give up. Or, you got 4 bodyguards and they all turn in. That just watch for that. I mean, I can see it coming because, again, the people from within, you got to understand that, yes, most of these soldiers will just follow orders. I know even the most patriotic ones will go and round people up, that type of thing. You mean all those riot cops at Ferguson and all those riot cops and stuff like that, cracking down on the people? Yeah, they got to restore rule of law. But not one of them has the common sense to go round up George Soros. Why are we, this is the guy creating all this problem. Why are we, he's funding these people. The buses that are coming in, they have the right to protest, but these are the agitators coming in. And you had police officers, police chiefs out there talking about these agitators. Name George Soros. This bus came in, the money was from George Soros. George Soros is a criminal. He is now wanted in the state. Anything affiliated to George Soros is now considered criminal. It's no longer protesting with that. And George Soros, I mean, this guy is so easy to convict. Oh, but he's elite. He's rich, so we can't. He's too big to jail. What the fuck? They're just men. Just arrest them already. And the reason why they don't get arrested, and this is the thing, you're going to see a purge of police chiefs, and I think after Donald Trump, you're going to see intelligence officers purged big time. You're going to see a lot of them ending up dead. Because all these FBI directors and stuff like that never arrested these people. They never arrested these people. And I keep hearing Trump make, and I think he's holding his cards really close to his hand. He mentions Soros from time to time. He mentions Kissinger from time to time. And I think that's him really. I think Trump wants to come out and tell you what he's going to do and what the system is going to do. But I think they're waiting till the inauguration. I think after the inauguration, he's just going to blow his top. There's going to be truth bombs everywhere. I think his inauguration is going to be about truth bombs. And by that time, the world elites, I think, again, as soon as he can get everything sprung into action and do his executive orders, I think his first executive orders, if he's what he says he is, that will take down a lot of these goonbags around the world. I'm hoping. But if not, if Donald Trump fails, the alternative is the second stage hellhounds, which I've talked about, calm spooks with a conscience, whatever. These people, they're going to start showing up. Why? Because as rule of law fails, when rule of law fails, bad things happen. When people stop believing in the law, bad things happen. If we can't restore the law through process, it will be done through force. Now, again, I'm just a messenger here. Whether I make this video or not is irrelevant. This is what we're seeing happening and is what's going to happen. And it can get very, very ugly. If we get to the third wave hellhounds, then you're under a full military coup, like overthrow the government kind of thing. And we could see that also from the other side. That's the crazy part. Because it's not like the world elites aren't trying to derail Trump. That's very obvious. They're trying to steal, right up to the inauguration, they're going to try to steal this from him. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But anyway, I'll leave it at that. So, if you like I already said that. So, Rate, subscribe, share, comment, like, be true to yourself, be true to others, always do the right thing, and have yourselves a great day. Hey, hi, and welcome. Q&A, whatever it is. For those of you who joined me for the very first time, it's just me responding to various questions and comments I get on various different videos. I never censor my comments. Always encourage people to jump in on the conversation because it's usually pretty fantastical, whether we agree, disagree, or agree to disagree. Always good to say a piece. Today's date, 16th of January, 2016. Let's just jump into this. First of all, I appreciate you trying to go about this balanced and fair way. However, if anyone thinks there's not enough resources to maintain Canada's welfare state, they're simply wrong. Canada's corporations get tax cuts with the assumption that they will reinvest and be in job creators. People claim them to be. But instead, what has happened is that in between 2001 and 2011, the total cash reserves of Canada's largest non-financial private corporations grew from 187 billion to 575 billion. This is what is referred to as dead money. Funds are just sitting there doing nothing, and Canada corporations have over 500 billion of it. It is so bad that the Bank of Canada Governor Mark Carney and former Finance Minister Flaherty both came out at the time urging the corporations to invest more than they are. Yes, there are those welfare bums, but they are expected. They are the exception, not the rule. If anybody wants to attack welfare recipients, just don't forget that the corporations recipients too. Oh, I agree with this too, and they are worse than the individual citizens replacing recipients because the corporations' welfare recipients get way more than the individual citizen recipients. Okay, well that's definitely fair. But what I'm saying is, okay, people who can able-bodied to work should work. I'm all for a workfare program, and I'm also against too big to fail. And I'm also, again, these billions of dollars. A lot of corporations, that's the biggest complaint, that these corporations, when they got all these tax breaks, they just hung on to the money. That was one of the biggest problems, yes, and it still is. But what I'm saying is get rid of too big to fail. So you get rid of too big to fail, these big corporations go away, or you mandate that those corporations either have to pay a profit sharing or spend that money by a certain amount of time, or the government just seizes that money. Which I think the government should just seize the money, because these people wouldn't be Fortune 500 companies without the welfare of the government anyway. So that's why I get rid of too big to fail. All these problems, they go away, and you just really emphasize on having an economy with really strong entrepreneurship and small business. Small businesses are the wave of the future, because the big corporations, like again, most of them, these Fortune 500 companies, they're just welfare giants. That's all they are.